to go pick him up.
That would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to see him today. You're welcome to come today to the event. It's at 9 o'clock in Tel Aviv.
Still?
Yeah, I'll get you in.
I don't want to go to Tel Aviv, really.
I'm going to go there first to the pier to have like a date day kind of thing with my wife.
Oh, that's gewalt.
And just, get like a bite to eat over there and just look at the sunset with the waves and everything. And then when that's finished, head over to Allenby 22, which is where the shear is. And I don't know if I'll stay for the whole thing, but at least
what type of chaver comes to that?
It's more of a Kiruv like organization, but he's going to do it. He's already sent me.
He speaks Ivrit? No,
he sent me a printout like of the mind of consciousness. Like he has this whole a map of consciousness, which someone produced for him a while back, and he puts it together with some appendix, and he has a whole course about how to understand the consciousness. That's one of his big strengths. Like Shlomo was saying when we talked about him, one of the things he gets a lot of inspiration from Gedalia is this universal way of talking about consciousness. It's a very needed. How many people talk about it?
What do you mean by that?
Consciousness means understanding strategies of how to work with yourself.
Yeah.
He's very strong in that.
Yeah, he's definitely very strong with that. It's very.
And in terms of what we've been learning in Tanya, it connects well because the idea of pushing yourself a little bit, not a little bit, a lot actually, to be an Oved Elokim. And when I saw him on Erev Shabbos, I felt like energy, with him is he's in a Miami style way pushing himself.
Yeah.
It's got that swag, and it's not it's not tense like some Haredi guy from Misharim. It's so you can relate to it or look up to it in a more beautiful way. We were in this nice house overlooking the hills of Efrat, and he spoke about Shalom bias, and everyone could just communicate. It was more intimate. It wasn't shir style. Right. Everyone had different things to say, and it was good to hear from the women.
Some of your questions were pretty solid.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good
Baruch
session.
Hashem.
So the idea is pushing yourself, but in a way that is healthy.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people forcing themselves to do all kinds of things, but they end up burnout. Whereas this way you don't burn out because it becomes a kinyan, it becomes part of you. Like he says, L'chein zos apam hamea va'achas ha'yisrael aragilesh arogo manarav shekula keneged kulam. That extra one is keneged everything. Right. All the 100 before it. So when you get to the 101, once again that famous number 101, you get to that level of 101. It's connected everything you did before. It's equal to all the effort you made before.
Right.
So the idea is that extra push, that extra mile, that extra kinyan of Torah, that extra shviras amidas or building tikkun amidas, whichever way you go, breaking amidas, fixing amidas. All these things lead us to real growth and a real Beinoni who's Oved Hashem.
Right.
The kind of Beinoni we want to be. In fact, its quantity surpasses them in greater strength and power. There's only this one extra vision which entitles a student to what? Nikra Oved Elokim. Then he gets called the level of him who serves Hashem. What does he translate here in him who serves Hashem?
We're not up to 16. We're up to...
we're just finishing off 15.
Okay.
It's a little bit... this. Yeah, that's what I just read.
Yeah, these are
the kind of things we need to review again and again because we sometimes feel like we're just endlessly pushing. It's not like that. We have a lot of kinyan just by being a yid. It's a gift I was saying, I put out a share on YouTube about the nations and how they support Israel. And then we went into a little bit some of how they dislike us also, yeah?
Right.
And obviously there's been a lot of support from a lot of people visiting, like Chadash and what's his name, Floyd Mayer, where all these guys, Rappaport, all these people come, Jews as well, Matziel, all these people have come,
right.
Jay Seinfeld, all these dudes have come, and they've shown their support, and then there's a whole world that hates us.
Right.
And I put up this video, I made a shorter version of it, and it's up to 1,000 views in a day or something, which is a lot for me because I'm not a big guy and I don't promote I don't put any money behind it. So it's just natural organic stuff. But a lot of us hate comments, about over 20 plus hate comments on the video now.
Wow.
like, which is good, means that people are watching it, but the problem is they're not open to the message. The message was,
a lot of it are like bots and stuff like that. Like
could be
China,
so,
Russia.
Yeah, it could be.
God knows what.
Yeah, it could be. So, but there's a lot of push, and this is how the Jewish people are. That we're naturally kind. Like it says, we're Bal Chasadim, Rachmanim, Bashanim. We have all these different levels of of being kind and having mercy and being able to have shame. That's the inheritance from Avraham Yitzchak, the Avos and the Steres we've been talking about here. So when Am Yisrael push themselves to go out their way to be kind beyond the normal level, that's us, that extra one. That's once again in kindness as well as also like I'm sure you've had situations where you really were uncomfortable at doing a chesed. You had to be mavata on something, but we get these things in business and stuff. But you knew that it would be the higher path, the higher lane, the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And that extra thing is the nakuda when you become a lios nikra of Eliyahu. So the same with that. So even if the world's hating on you, you should still say the truth. Like it might not be popular to say that we're the chosen people and we have a Torah MS. Might not be popular. It's not PC apparently, but who cares? It's the MS. You know? So I must have to be able to be strong and push themselves the extra little bit. And it makes a big difference. In order to change his habitual nature, you must what? Now this is a Chabad way. How do you do it? Through misbonin on Hashem, His greatness. Would you say there's other ways? Yeah. I mean, you were just going to go to Morgenstern last night. You're going to be with Gedalia. Obviously, there's other ways. There's Kabbalah, according to Morgenstern. There's Hisbodadus, according to Rabbi Nachman. There's all different ways,
Yeah.
Of how you can become more motivated. There's Rav Kook's derech of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. Everyone has a different way of like pushing yourself to do something beyond yourself.
Which one of I want to read or learn which one of our cooks one talks specifically about Eretz Yisrael.
Oiris, I think, is very strong.
Yeah,
that was the book I learned about Eretz Yisrael. I mean, Weinberg would know better than anyone. I mean,
but he's not. I don't like bothering him with these questions. It's like he's like, I speak to him whenever I have like life decisions, issues.
So, I mean, I would go onto his catalog and just look at all the different shurim he's done.
Right.
And I think that Oiris is a big one. Or you can look at
doing one now. He's in the middle of giving one on Rav Kook as well.
Yeah, Oiris. That was the first book I bought in English from Rav Kook.
Yeah.
And it was all the Oris HaTshuva and Oretz Yisrael. There's so much writings. I mean, he's a whole
can't
world.
do the Hebrew ones. They're like
English. You need translation. Hebrew. There was just a shir from Gedalia that he just put up Erev Shabbos. It might be interesting to you if you're talking about Rav Kook. It was all about Rav Kook's Svarim.
Oh yeah, he learns Rav Kook's Svarim?
Yeah, he was with this rabbi Asher something or other, Zevig Schwartz or something, some new guy that I haven't really heard about. But they were learning here. I just finished mine. Open up on my phone. There it is. The Spiritual Wisdom of Rav Kook with Rabbi Ari Zev Schwartz. So apparently he's just put out a new book called The Spiritual Wisdom of Rav Kook. He's putting out a second one apparently already.
Who is
this Ari Zev Schwartz?
Interesting.
And that's who Gedalia was speaking to.
You listened to my friend?
What, Yaakov Langer? Yeah, of course.
No, a meaningful podcast.
I listened to those dudes also. Yeah.
They mentioned me the other day. You know that?
Oh really? Did they?
Yeah, a couple in
which one?
Because this is he's my best friend.
Oh really? He's good.
My mom
he's
is
a Tam Chochem. He's like brings a lot of Torah to that podcast.
This one,
he knows Torah.
And on this one, both of these.
Oh yeah, that makes sense because you're connected with Avshi.
Yeah, I connected him with Rav Avshi.
Oh nice. And the real secret to victory in Gaza.
That's with a different guy, Noam.
You connected that as well?
Yeah.
Oh nice. Yeah, no, he's good. What's his name?
Bauman, yeah.
Bauman. He's a Tam Chochem, right? He says Torah.
Mm-hmm.
He's added a good element to that whole thing.
Yeah, he's very deep in the Shema.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he's not a social media kind of guy. He's not an influencer. He just is a yid. It's good.
He doesn't.
It's refreshing. He's not interested in that whole thing.
Yeah,
it's a schmuck. And that brings a certain authentic vibe because there's a lot of people trying to whatever. Anyway, the point is that we need to push forward in everything, and that. So also we're learning Torah of Kook. I mean, every way that you try, but in the end we're learning Tanya right now. And what is the Nakuda is this Bonan of the Galas Hashem. That's the Nakuda. I'd say living in a frat for like a lot of people, how would be pushing themselves to go to the shirim, to do chesed in the community. You don't always feel like it. To go, to go to the events. It's a push sometimes. There's quite a lot going on in the calendar, and you have to push yourself to be involved. And it's for the sake of a larger picture, that it's not just about you and your journey in Israel. You're part of a community, and also to, like you've done with the meaningful people, to connect people up, because you're here in Eretz Israel and you have an extra zchus to be able to connect people to people they wouldn't know about. Anyway, the Lashana Satar Regila Sark La Oretz Ahava La Hashem Aide Misbonin Begalat Hashem B'Malcho the Sholet Al Teva Shebachala Smuli Hamale Dam and Nefesh Behemish Beklipa. So, what's the reason? Why are you pushing yourself? Why are you bisponing on Hashem? In order to master the nature that's the left part of the heart, the Nefesh Bahamis, which is there, is Sholet in the left part of the heart. And that's the part originating in Klipa, Shemenahu Ateva, and the power of his love enables him to transcend his nature. You see, this is Wilson's whole Parsha Shmini, going beyond yourself. Zehi avoda tama lebeinoni. This is to overpower himself for a love of Hashem through meditation, which is once again the Chabad derech. Is a simple service for a Beinoni, a perfect service. Excuse me. He doesn't say simple. It's interesting because tama, it's simple, but it's also perfect. It's interesting. But that's the way the Beinoni is going to overcome his Yetzirah through misbonin on the Galas Hashem. So according to Chabadniks, the real way, the real key. Now there's a slight problem in our generation. We don't have the Koach and Moach as much as previous generations, and that Chabad would agree. Because what do you see Chabad doing mostly nowadays? You see them be misbonin. Mm-hmm. You walk into a Chabad show and they're all sitting there misbonin on the Galas Hashem. No. What are they doing? They're doing
mitzvahs.
Shlichus. Messiahim. That was the update from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the 6th and 7th Rebbes, I would say even the 6th as well. There was a certain push towards more olam HaMaseh, like doing things, changing the world, elevating the world through Ma'asim, Tovim, through Torah mitzvahs, through getting everyone else involved, Messiahim, the whole thing. So there was a certain switcheroo, and either way, by connecting to the shlichus of the Rebbe, you're still connecting to Avos Hashem and Galas Hashem. You're just doing it through the shlichus rather than through the sitting there and being misbonin. It's because now you're the shlich of the Rebbe, so now you become sort of bottled to the Rebbe's great madrigas of Hisbodadus.
Right. It seems like that's what the next Perek is going to be about.
I think so. Or the other thing, another way of serving Hashem as a Beinoni is to arouse the we mentioned this before, the hidden parts of love in his heart, which we said is a rusha from Avram Yitzchak. We all have it. Right. Thereby to control the nature that is the left part of the heart. As Nikugam Kain Avoda. This is all called serving Hashem. How are you going to arouse those hidden loves? So I think that fits now more. The second part fits more the in a more straight way of how to awaken the Avos Nesteres is by Mitzayim. That would be the more up-to-date version. Because why are all these Chabadniks so able? It's not easy every day to wake up with a shlichus every day, not to have a chofish, be like the Rebbe. The Rebbe never went on chofish. He was all the time, 24/7, serving Hashem and bringing Klai closer. It was not like sitting in the Bahamas or something, sitting in a jacuzzi. It never happened. So what's the story? So a lot of Chabadniks have to live this way. They have their Chabad house. They can't. There's no rest because they've got this house with people coming all the time, the whole year round. Yeah. So they got to just keep going and going. Maybe for them the rest is when they go to like the shlich, the kinnis of shluchim. That's for them. And even that's probably like the biggest networking event for them.
I don't know how they don't burn out.
Yeah. So one of the ways is because they're tapping into this Avos Nesteres. Unless they're tzaddikim, but they're tapping into the Avos Nesteres. It constantly overcomes Nefesh Bahamas through constantly doing Ma'asim Tovim, by being regil, in their habits tuned to Chesed and Avoda and Torah. They're constantly tuned to these holy parts of themselves, Avram Yitzchak, and that constantly gives the power to be sholet on the left part of the heart. And that's also called imperfect. It's avoda, but it's an imperfect avoda. Because a wage war against nature and condition by rousing the love hidden in the heart. So that would be not the highest level. Because we said before, remember we had the Litvak kind of guy? It's not nice to call him that, but the Masmid, let's rather call him that. And his teva was that his natural Avos Nesteres is that he just loves learning Torah. So he just learns all day. So he doesn't do Averas. So that's another level of a Beinoni. But the problem is that, once again, that's not real avoda.
Right.
That, because it's not where he's in a. I suppose the difference is between. I don't know if this is correct, but Asay Tov and Sumera. What does he say over there? Because I would say the Asay Tov is more this boning on the greatness of Hashem,
Right.
in a sense, and the Sumera is awakening the inheritance from Abraham Yitzchak, the dormant love.
That's what he calls it.
But it's awakening. It's not like you're doing. It's not proactive. It's more like it's just being samach on your yichud kind of thing, on your inheritance.
Right. Above, we argued that an awakening of souls, dormant love, does not count as service because it was not brought about by him.
Yeah,
it's
an inheritance.
Rather just spiritual.
It's like living off your daddy's credit card. You didn't work for it.
Sup, dog.
You've got the card, and it means
Papa's got the PhD. They call it.
You didn't go to a Latin party. You went to Beis Midrash and learn with the credit card. So that's good. But you didn't schwitz for it. Yeah,
right.
It was your dad was like very happy for you to do that, 100%. And then take you out for dinner that night. You know,
right? That
you did well in your sugya of learning that day,
right?
And everyone gave you covered and all that. So there was a lot of like motivations outside of the inner struggle.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's a more external way of talking about it, but the point is the internal thing is that you have this inheritance and you're working from that. You're not generating your new kind of. I think that's the Nakuda. It's not like you're not a self-made man. It's like it's coming from the past.
Right.
And I think our generation, especially now with Rosh Chodesh and everything and the way the world is, we have to be mechadish. We have to renew ourselves. We have to be honest that we constantly have to renew ourselves and constantly remake ourselves. That's the chiddush that Shlomo Katz was saying about Gedalia. Just come back to Gedalia, that he's such a chiddush because he's someone who could not be like that. He didn't inherit this whole like Yiddishkeit thing. He had to work hard for it. I would say about myself as well, but it's not really right for me to talk about myself in that way. But I had to really work hard for it. Like I have a lot of family who think I'm still to this day think I'm nuts. They're like, just go work for your family, go work in the business. What are you doing? They're suffering in Israel. Yeah, that's how they view it. Mm-hmm. They see us at wars. They see, my own son's now on the battlefields out there on the border. Like he spent his whole Shabbos holding a machine gun. Literally non-stop, just being on Shmira for hours while we're like having a nice Shabbos.
Oh, he's not in the. They took him out from the insides now.
Well, he's not in Azza because he did his mission there in Canyonis and all that. There's other people for Rafa, and that's complicated. Exactly what's going on. Rafa. There's complicated what's going on over there.
Just drop a bomb.
But like, if you go, I'll show you. Look, this is what he did all Shabbos. He was sitting there with a big machine gun, looking at a tower.
Oh my goodness!
And that was his Shabbos. Where was it? Along the border there. See the gate there, and he was driving along. There was videos of him driving along, getting ready to go do it. And that was what he was doing for Shabbos. Literally just standing there, giant gun, and just guarding basically us.
Wow!
So that no one comes in and starts making trouble.
It's crazy.
Like what happened October 7th shouldn't happen again. We need to have people standing.
That was crazy.
So you can't rely on electronics. You have to have people actually guarding, and that's where we're at right now. So that is hard work, and that sometimes people think it's crazy what you've done. Like, why just come back to London, live a night, get a job, get a good lifestyle over there. It's an assign. So everyone in their own way is pushing themselves and going beyond themselves and constantly self-making themselves. Whereas a lot of people have a lifestyle given to them, and that's still something. They're still serving Hashem from people, but they're not. It's not a voda. I think it's hard. It's quite subtle. I think this Nakuda, because it's not just the Masmid. It's all kinds of people. The Masmid was an example. There's all kinds of people that are chapping into their avos listeris, their inheritance that they got from their family. What is the nature income by arousing the hidden love? So that much they're doing. If however he wages no war. Yeah, what's the guy who doesn't have to wage any war? This love can no way be credited to his service. He's ever called him who serves him not. So when he's no Mohammed Hashem, and he's just naturally in love with Hashem, because that was how he's brought up. He was sitting in yeshiva, and his whole life has just been learning. So that guy, and he never really pushed himself, that's not a voter at all.
Right.
It must be there was some, like Messias back in the time of the Balatania where this was very common. Because otherwise he would have brought it up. remember, this is a book to give us advice. So
Right, exactly.
there must have been a generation where there were people who were just sort of used to sitting and learning, and it wasn't.
It was like spiritual bypassing.
Yeah, but it's still a level. They're still called a Beinoni.
Right.
But the real Beinoni who serves Hashem is someone who engages in the struggle with the inclination, and that
Seems
is
like he's
the inner
also
struggle.
addressing a lot of the Misnagdus as well.
Yeah,
And he's taking like kind of like a hit against the Misnagdim, who are not a hit really, but he's just trying to say like you guys are, which is unfortunately the MS, is that like you guys, not many, but there are some of them that are just very, they just just you miss the part.
yeah. So look,
You miss the part. I
there-
remember
there is a lot of things
telling
being
this
filled
to
in though
someone.
nowadays.
when I was a bacher in yeshiva. So I went to high school in Rockaway, and then I went to base medrash in Rockaway.
Yeah,
And it was like the tract was like most of the guys went from there. They went to like the Mir Yeshiva. Some guys went to Brisk. Like a couple of guys went to Brisk, like to the top, the Brisk level schools.
well,
And so
Brisk was always like considered like a high level.
Brisk
kind of
was
thing.
like Harvard, like Ivy League is like Brisk, and then there's like other ones. There's like there's Brisk, and then there's a bunch of other, ones like them. Anyways, so I still remember this. I was telling this to someone the other day. Actually, it was the first time it came up. Where so the Maggid Shir of the base medrash, his name is Moshe Brown. He's like a Ner Yisrael. He's a Rush. He makes a real siyum. Like he knows Shas like cold. Like when I say cold, like he there are times where he's left our yeshiva and walked the wrong direction.
Okay, yeah,
Because he's like just thinking in Torah all day. His whole mind, everything's thinking in Torah. Like one time, guys came over to them and asked him a question, like, you're allowed to like shave before Lag BaOmer if it comes out on Friday, like Rosh Chodesh. I don't know. There's like all this inyanim, and so they're like, oh, you're allowed to shave on Friday, like Kavod Shabbos. Can you listen to music? And his response was like, you're never allowed to listen to music. Like, what's
like
that?
old school,
Like old school, like very like just
based on Svarim,
like Svarim, like he mamish.
not Matthias Svarim.
Like just, anyways, I remember. But again, everything's Torah. He's just a walking Sefer Torah. Like, and so one day he called us all, like the whole yeshiva, like maybe 100, 150. This is the base medrash, like 100 guys maybe into the whatever the lunchroom, and he never does this. And he's like telling us, he's like, I have a bachar of mine that went to one of these high level yeshivas here in Eretz Yisrael, and he called me up and he said, Rebbe, do you think I should go to the Levaya for the bachrim that were killed in Merkaz Arav? And he was like, and his answer was like, Avada, like what type of question? What do you mean?
Sure.
And he was like, well, because the yeshiva I'm in, they said I shouldn't go. It's Bittul Torah and the Mizrahi. And he, for like 40 minutes,
Good.
it's etched into my soul. That one, there's like no shiurim I remember on anything, like, Ger Katan and all these other sugyas I was learning. I don't remember anything. That one shiur, it was etched into like my neshama. He was like, for 40 minutes, he was crying. He was like screaming. He was angry. He was like, this is not the Torah. He's like, if this is the Torah, like this is not Torah. He's like, these kids, their Gemaras are covered in blood.
Wow.
He's like, the same Gemara. Why am I saying this? Is that like, there was a certain it's like, I don't know what it's like today, but I remember when I was,
The Torah changes
when
you.
I was 20
if
years
it's real
old,
Torah, it will
right.
change you. It will
when I
bring you
was 20
true
years
sensitivity.
old, it was like,
beyond all the boxes and the labels.
like I had
and
friends who
stuff.
went to like Brisk and all these yeshivas, and these kids were like, they were like Eved Hashems. They were not Ovdei Hashem.
Yeah.
They knew how to learn. Like they were the best. They were the top of the top. Like these kids were. But
it was somewhat given to them on some level.
They were brilliant. Usually the kids are brilliant.
They had a good mind.
They had good minds,
And everything was set up.
If you're in the yeshiva system and you have a good mind, you'll get the best chavrusa just because like you're brilliant.
Sure.
But like you're just smart, you're sharp, you're like you're rich. There's always like those like if you're like
Well, the Tanya's trying to get us to a more panemius place, where it's an inner struggle.
Yeah,
that was really this whole time. The last 4 or 5 chapters was about the inner struggle.
Yeah.
And where we're at right now is talking about the transition called the long game.
So now he has the
16 is a long game, and you mentioned before we started learning about the importance of Rebbeinu Tam, yeah.
yeah.
So I want to just bring it up before we start learning the 16th Perek. The idea that we have a long game in Yiddishkeit as well, and one of the ways we mentioned before is this concept of Ibun Neshama, of connection to Tzaddikim. So a level beyond ourselves. So in my opinion, Rebbeinu Tam is that kind of connection. Because it's the tefillin more of the Tzaddikim, of Tzaddikim Emes. Meaning, not that Rashi is Chas Shalom, not a Tzaddik, but the Rashi's tefillin is for everyone. And what Rebbeinu Tam is push you, is makasha you to the Tzaddikim Emes.
Which Tzaddikim Emes? All of them?
Or the Pneumius, whatever that means, on the Pneumius level. Like
What's the connection between Rebbeinu Tam and them?
So one way is to look at the way the organization of the Parshas is. So according to Rashi, it's Yud K Vav K, like this month coming up, Chodesh Nisan, is the Sir of Shem Havaya, is Yismuchu HaShamayim V'Segel HaAretz, that it should be in order, Yud K Vav K, Yismuchu HaShamayim V'Segel HaAretz. How do we see that? Kadesh Kaviyecha Shema V'Yim Shema. That's Yud K Vav K, according to the Seder of the Parshas. Yeah? Kadesh Kaviyecha Shema V'Yim Shema. What's Rebbeinu Tam? What does it switch? So they say that's Chodesh Iyar. Chodesh Iyar is Yud K Hey Vav. Hey Vav. What's Hey Vav? What switches? So the Kadesh Kaviyecha, which from Parshas Bo stays the same order. What switches in the Rebbeinu Tam? It switches the Vayim Shema becomes before Shema. So the Ol Malchus Shemayim becomes before the Shema, the yichud. So the concept is that you are connecting yourself to a higher level of taking on all the Ola mitzvahs before the Ola Malchus Shemayim. You don't need the Ola Malchus Shemayim to do the Ola mitzvahs. You have the mitzvahs already. You're a tzaddik. You're already into the tzaddik level, which is straight to the mitzvahs. You don't need to do Ola Malchus Shemayim. And the concept is, it says it's Keneged Chodesh Iyar, which is like, we know, like Ba'omer and Reb Shimon and Pesach Sheni. There's a lot of awe of the Tzaddikim in that Chodesh.
Right. We were learning about the Chodesh Iyar also.
Yeah. So Chodesh,
There are people who don't write it in the Ksuba.
Yeah.
They have an Indian that to
Ani Hashem
Hashem, yeah.
And the idea is that we learned in Tikkun Medina, we learned about Chodesh Iyar Dafka. It's a Chodesh of awe, of light. And it has in it, the Rebbeinu Tam has this connection to, the Bnei Soska talks about this, the idea you can makash yourself to the Tzaddik, and Rabbi Nachman Sfarim talk about it also, Rebbeinu Tam. So it's like, it brought in halacha that only Bali Nefesh should wear it, and Yerushalayim, and etc. But now the Chassidish, what Chassidim did, they made it something for all of the Chassidim to makash themselves to the Tzaddik. It's like, through the Tzaddik we can wear them. So the idea is that it gives you a higher level connection to a tzaddik, and that is worth everything, because especially in our generation. So I started wearing Rebbeinu Tam after a few years of being married. I asked the tzaddik, and they said, "Yeah, could I?" I didn't have much money, but I managed to still get a very good quality pair, and I still have them now, thank God. And I remember the first time I ever put them on was Chodesh Iyar, like in collar. It was like, it worked out. I got them just in time for that.
Wow.
So I was very inspired that it was like Hashem was saying good on you, you got them. So Rebbeinu Tam is also, he's a hemshich from Rashi. He wasn't, I think it was his grandchild, but it was a big, you see a chiluk between Reb Ashi and Rebbeinu Tam all the time in Shas. Rashi's more pshat, Rebbeinu Tam's Tosfos. It's like that extra push. Like we're learning about Beinoni, this extra push. I feel like Rebbeinu Tam is that extra push, and what I try and do every time I put Rebbeinu Tam on is not just say the Shema, because that's the minhag to say the Shema, but I also try and learn a little bit with them on as well.
Interesting. Wait a minute, I thought you put it on after, like by Ashrei.
Yeah, so after Ashrei, V'Vul Etzion.
So when do you say Shema?
So I say again the Shema, like a separate new Shema, nothing to do with Shacharis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just a new Shema with the Rebbeinu Tam. Because the Indian is to have the Dalit Parshas. I don't say all four. I say just Shema, Vim Shema. I don't say all four, because I already said the two Parshas of Kaddish of Kiyach when I wore Rashi. I say that after I put tefillin on every day.
So say Shema, V'Yahavta, and V'Haya.
Yeah, Vim Shema. And we might not finish off with the Tzitzis one as well. Just going to say it anyway.
Just for the fun of it.
Yeah, just to get the full shlemus of the Shema with Rebbeinu Tam. And then I try to learn something. So what my learning every day with Rebbeinu Tam is Shnai Mekazak Stadim. That's what I do.
Right.
Everyone can do their own thing, but the point is just not just to put them on and off, and try wear them a little bit.
Elevate them. And let them
do
elevate
some
you.
avoda a little bit. Yeah, let them do their thing with you. They do have a lot of the similar halachas as Rashi, except you don't make a bracha on them.
Right.
The bracha you made on Rashi, you can have in mind that was Kolel, the Benatam, or any other derech. And also, the famous Hasidic Sipur is, I heard this from a Hasidim, that it's likely one time in your life you're going to make a bracha on your Benatam by accident, once you buy them. Just to give a little push up for Rebbeinu Tam. And it's you shouldn't really do it, like Al Pi Halacha, but it's going to happen one time. You're going to make a mistake one time, you're not thinking, you have a lack of das one day, and you're just going to take the wrong tefillin.
You're supposed to ask a Rav before, and you just take it, you just put it on yourself.
Rebbeinu Tam, I went and asked the Tzaddik, asked the Rav, asked Das Torah, and they told me, since I'm going on a Derech Chassidus, I asked Rabbi Mordechai Friedlander. He's a big posting in the Chassidish world and Sofas as well. He's Square Chassid, a Talmud of Moshe Feinstein. He was a big person. He's not around anymore, unfortunately. But whoever your bodim are, ask them. I would ask a Rav first before doing it, honestly. But once you do, and get a good sofa. It doesn't have to be 8,000 shekel pair. Maybe 5,000-6,000. Nowadays everything's got up. The sofas, but
yeah,
I paid 3.5 or something, which was a lot back then.
Yeah.
This then is the important principle.
He has a whole little shtickle here.
Oh yeah, so this is the long game.
Chapter 15, where we count 4 different types of Beinoni.
Yeah. 15.
Chapter 15, we have encountered 4 different types of Beinoni.
Yeah.
Who differ in the level of effort they serve Hashem.
To serve Hashem. Remember he said generate
in
the heart to energize divine service.
We have the box checker. The guy who he follows it because it's just his natural tendency to follow rules.
And then there's 2 levels. There's a palatable emotion in the heart. This is the way Shmuel Diamond says it, to engage divine service. Or an innate emotion in the heart to engage divine service. And that innate one.
Effortless one.
Yeah.
Then we have the static Beinoni, who did struggle, and then he reached a certain level, and now he's just chilled.
Yeah.
Second nature. Both of these, they do not serve Hashem.
They're
Evan
innate.
Hashem.
Yeah.
Then we have the Beinoni who serves God.
Yeah.
Between incomplete and ideal levels of effort. The incomplete Beinoni does wrestle with his emotions, but he doesn't make enough effort to generate real feelings of Hashem, relying too much on merely arousing the natural dormant love hidden from him. The ideal Beinoni, on the other hand, devotes a lot of effort to mindful meditation, aiming, developing strong emotional attachment to Creator. He may never fully saturate his heart feelings like a tzaddik, but he struggles. It sounds like the difference between a guy who needs to hear a good Charlie Harari shir, and he feels, and then that's it, and then he lives from shir to shir to feel. That's just sometimes where I feel myself being. And then a guy who's going out and really pushing, similar to what Gedalia Fencer was saying, just do a spot, do this every day.
Or a Moshe Weinberger with learning it deep and or a Shlomo where you really get into the sugyas.
You got to do the avodah.
It's not just some motivation shit. It's actual hard work.
You got to put in the effort, right? You can't just.
I remember one Rav said to me, you could when I used to connect to a Sumai, he says, no problem. You can be connected to a Sumai, listen to the shirim, be on its adrenaline rush the whole time, living off his energy, his all.
Right.
And I did for years, and then suddenly he's like, well, now let me take away that light for a minute, and now see what kind of tzaddik you are. Did anything change you? Yeah, that's the real thing. That's when you get tested. Now let's see.
A lot of people get stuck on that level of Beinoni, where they're
living off the Rebbe's
living off the Rebbe, living off a good shir, living off a good high, but they're not. That's why I could see myself getting stuck there too.
You know what the key to the game is? To have a wife who pushes you.
100%.
Because women, they don't like it when we're just
the key is having
lazy.
a wife and listening to her.
Yeah.
Which is sometimes even harder.
It is hard.
My wife will tell me something and I'll just be like,
So he says the long game in Shmuel Diamond's B'nai-Aliyah.com website.
Check him out. Subscribe, follow.
He doesn't care about that stuff.
Zip.
No, he's not interested. He's got panasa. He doesn't need your money. He just wants to share the Torah.
So then I could use it. Send it to me. Subscribe, follow.
I'll send you.
I take cash, credit card.
Emotions are born of intellect. If you don't know about it, you will have no feelings towards it. This means the more consistently and the more deeply you think about something, the more profound will be the emotions generated. This kind of thing is referred to as Hisbodadus. This is what we've been talking about, Hisbonanus. And it's by means of the average Jew is able to bring his inner emotional world more in line with Rotzon Hashem. So then this chapter 16 is primary avodah of the Beinoni. Through meditating on the Galus Hashem, giving birth to genuine, palpable emotions in the heart, the Beinoni is able to rule over his animal nature. So suppose it's going like the next shlav of really understanding what this Beinoni, he's Oved Hashem. We're going off with the guy, the ideal guy, the Oved Hashem.
Right. In chapters 12 to 14, Tanya has offered a very detailed insight into the Beinoni, present the realistic religious ideal of every person.
Yeah, this is
Chaim
Miller's
practical observance. The Beinoni is a great success, but he struggles to maintain steady emotional attachment to Hashem, to God. His feelings fluctuate between utter rapture when his prayers and meditations go well, the thoughts of selfish animalistic behavior which may bother him much of his life. The Tanya assures that all this is quite normal. When it comes to practical observance between man and God and man and his fellow, which is nothing less than total self-control. But the emotional ride is going to be a roller coaster. We spend our lives conflicting urges along the solution proposed by Tanya.
Quite a rikas is
Store up as much love, reverence as possible, make its deposits in our emotional bank account.
Yeah, bank account, that's a good one. I like that bank account, emotional bank account, because we do have to pay attention not just to our financial bank account, but also spiritual, emotional bank accounts. And that also includes our families. How much we're investing in our family around us. That's an important point. But I just want to say here, he says, Beinoni with limited mental talents. This is the next thing he brings here. If unable to generate genuine emotions due to limited intellect. Remember, this is probably our generation, yeah? Like, just be real. We're so distracted. So the conviction that he should be serving Hashem with real love and fear counts. So having a conviction, that's important. If your service is entered by his conviction, quasi-emotion, machshava tova, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mistaref lamaisa, Hashem combines this otherwise to ethereal energy, then naturally cannot raise the mitzvah to a higher world to the mitzvah and raise the mitzvah nevertheless. The mitzvah now rises to the world of Bria. With this intervention, the mitzvah would rise to the world of YITZCHAK.
Right.
The point is, he's talking about elevation. But the point, how do you get to the elevation? Through having conviction. Because it's hard to... Where do our generation make up for the lack of moach?
Right.
Through Rotzen. That's why Breslov, as you see, is so strong nowadays. Because developing conviction is something we can all do, even with all our distractions.
Right.
We can constantly, even when we're distracted, we can be wanting.
So it's a big thing, right? We can just always work on our Ratzon.
Yeah, that's why Rotzen is very important.
I forgot who said that, but I love that
Sufim.
Ratzon.
Yeah. With the Rotzen.
I don't know who he heard that from. I think Shlomo said it, but I don't know who he was quoting.
Sounds like a Biederman kind of thing, but the idea of Rotzen.
I think it is, maybe.
Yeah. The idea of having that Rotzen, that's the key. I think I remember him mentioning it as well. You're right.
What?
It was Shlomo. He mentioned it.
I don't know who he mentioned in the name of.
It could also be a Breslov Sefer.
Eger, I don't know.
It could be Breslov also because it's.
I don't know why I feel like it was Breslov Eger, but I don't know.
Could be. He's very much into Yisod, and Yisod is also connected a lot to do with, the Tzaddik is Rotzen. This is the important principle regarding divine service of Beinoni. The certain things to govern and rule the natures in the left part of the heart. That's the bottom line. Yeah, you're the boss. You're sholet on yourself. What does it mean you're the boss? Your nefesh elokis, your godly soul is the boss. It means the divine illuminates the divine soul abiding in the brain. The sholet alev to rule the desires of the heart. Yeah, so that's really, once again, it's not you. Right. You're identifying yourself as the nefesh elokis.
Your struggle, your problem is your solution.
Yeah.
Like if you're not struggling,
he's breaking up now.
Huh?
He's been quoting it a bunch of times. He likes that.
Your problem is your solution, like things like that, which is like, again, like if you're not struggling, then you're not growing.
Yeah.
Like that's not a good sign. Like if someone says like I don't really have much of yitzhar anymore, and you're like, buddy, that's not SOS.
Danger zone.
Danger zone. You're just lifeless then. You're either depressed and you need to be medicated, or you are being medicated and you need to go off your medication.
So this shlita on the lave and the mind takes effort. That's what basically you're saying.
Yeah.
Struggle.
You got to struggle.
Right. It's bonin.
Struggle.
Because how are you going to do it? Kamish bonin.
Wait. Al Yadei.
Yeah. Wait. Before we get Al Yadei, he says it was bonin. Oh, that you're right. Yeah, that's the line before. Go on. Al
Yadei Or Hashem Meir LeNefesh.
He says, how do you do that? Eliminate the divine soul abiding in the brain. How is that going to happen? It's true. Your nefesh elikus is going to be the boss, and it's going to light up your heart and your mind.
Right.
But how? To be sholet on this lave. How? is bonin b'mocha geloso ein sof baruch hu. So this is once again the Chabad derech. We're meditating in the greatness of Hashem and infinite light. The
nefesh alekush of Marach. Oh, so he holds the nefesh alekush is in the mayach. I thought we said
the mayach on the right side of the heart.
Right side of the heart.
Yeah, but it's also in the mayach because it's chokhmah and bina. There's the chokhmah in the mayach and bina, and the bina is more shaykh the leiv. But either way, how do you describe how it works out? But the nefesh alekush
starts in the brain.
Yeah. And it influences on the right side of the heart, and through the right side of the heart, it overpowers the left side of the heart.
Right, interesting. Chabakuk.
That sort of inner war.
I just love the sound of that word. Chabakuk.
Yeah.
We need a little bit of all of it.
Yeah,
okay, as we learned in chapters 12 and 13.
Yeah, that was the whole thing with the katana and the whole thing, the guf, and the Muhammad Yitzhak within. The nefesh elikus is shola, but the only way you're going to get the nefesh elikus to be shola is be effort through Hisbodadus. That's the struggle to use your to put energy into thinking of the greatness of Hashem. Liel sumerah the rights of the rabbanon. This will cause them to turn away from the evil condemned by the Torah. I feel it is a cow shel devarim chasashon. So by having this knowledge of fear, Yerushalayim,
you flew out of me a little bit. So Misbeinoni, so what's the difference between his Misbeinoni to be
Hisbodadus,
Hisbonanus,
yeah, on the greatness of
Hisbodadus.
Hisbodadus speaking. It's really the nakuda, thinking or speaking.
Thinking or speaking.
So how do you miss bonin? You learn Sifrei Chasidus, usually. That's usually the way methodology. And through the Sifrei Chasidus,
mindful meditation.
Yeah, so I mean that would be the modern day version, like some guy sitting there thinking deeply into the greatness of Hashem. But look, how are you going to get to those thoughts? A lot of Hasidim would say through Sifrei Chasidim, learning Sfarim, they talk about the greatness of Hashem.
Leads to Hisbodadus, honestly.
So Hisbodadus is Rabbi Nachman's Nakuda or the other Siddiqim as well talk about it. It was Chaim. It wasn't only a Breslov thing, but the idea is talking
within the context of Rabbi Nachman, like in Breslov, Hisbodadus, I would
say
find
the words
would lead to Hisbodadus also.
Hopefully, if you're doing it right, if you're really thanking Hashem sincerely and meaning it, and working it.
You were the one that told me that. Reb Nachman one time went to the Baal Tanya Shir or vice versa.
Yeah, there was such a experience. Yeah, and he said he didn't get much out of it
except for one thing. Right?
One thing that the soul. There's a concept in Tanya. It says that how do you have what's the lechem of the soul? How do you nourish the soul?
Right.
By Torah, spirituality. So the nekuda that how you have Rahmanas on your soul is through learning and nourishing your soul.
Right.
That Nukuda he got.
When you're learning Torah, you're having Rahmanas on yourself almost.
Yeah, because you're feeding your soul.
That's such a Breslov Torah.
Yeah, so he liked that very much. So, but that was the only Nakuda he took out of the shir, and it was like a 10-hour shir or something.
I was trying to look it up online. I was trying to, I couldn't find
it. The meeting between Rabbi Nachman and
I was looking.
It's where Moshe Wolfson brings it down. You can find it probably by one of his English svarim or something. Yeah. He talks about it. I've heard him say it. They
have little things. I looked online, like Rabbi Nachman meeting about Tanya, and they have things, but it wasn't clear. It was
so Rav Moshe Wolfson has a Masorah that he went to a shir and he wasn't misbal so much, but then there wasn't a kuda that he took out of it that he took with him. That was the kuda.
Just crazy. When you really think about it, how incredibly holy the soul of the Baal Shem Tov was.
Yeah.
The Baal Shem Tov encompassed all of that.
Yeah.
And then from him came. It's like everything, and you're just how is this?
He was like the Keter, like the Penimis of all the Chasidus, of everything.
From him came Chasidus that they all have their own little different shitas that can even seem sometimes opposite. And you're no, all this is the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov.
Because the most important Nakuda, which is why I connect mostly beyond Balatanya and Rabbi Nachman to Baal Shem Tov himself, is because that if you go to the Shorish of Chasidus, it's all about the yichud.
Right,
so it doesn't matter which way you get there, but you got to get there. You got to get to the unification of Hashem. The unification of Hashem Echad, is the Tachlis.
Right.
And it's the same in Zohar Kodesh. What's going to bring Mashiach? Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad. You know, but why did the Kalav Rebbe have that on his shul? Do you ever went in that old shul? And Rochav Chana next to Rav Simai? I mean, where Rav Simai used to be back in the old days. And it was on the Aaron Kodesh, it says Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad. And he big letters throughout the Aaron Kodesh. And because that was, he once said to me, he said he had a dream of Shem Bayachai came to him. He said the way Mashiach's going to come is through Shema Yisrael, making sure everyone's in Am Yisrael saying Shema Yisrael, bringing the yichud, unification. And that will happen either way, through Hisbodadus on the greatness of Hashem, Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad, or talking it out, Shema Yisrael Hashem Echad. The whole point of Hisbodadus is to get you to that yichud of thanking Hashem, relationship with God, or thinking about the greatness of Hashem. Either way, you're getting to that yichud. But the goal is the yichud. Yeah, I mean that's why personally, for me, the Baal Shem Tov is the key to the whole story, and to not lose sight of that. I mean, if you go to a Chabadnik, I remember saying by Chabadnik, I say because we're the derech of the Baal Shem Tov. Then you go to a Breslov, we're the derech of the Baal Shem Tov, and I'd be like, okay,
you
I've got to make a choice
about the Baal
here.
Shem Tov, and you're like,
I just Baal Shem Tov. Why do I have to? So we once went.
I really like this Chabakuk whole idea.
Yeah, Emunah Achas, Midach Achas, one principle.
It just kind of pulls it all together because they all fit within each other in a perfect,
They do. And we went to Tanya Rebbe one time and we spoke in English to him, whole chabur of us, and we said, what happened to the Torahs of the Baal Shem? Like, people don't quote it so much anymore. Like, it's all these minhagim and sugyas and shas, and like become very like yeshivish, like the Hasidic world in that sense. So we were asking the Rebbe, like, what happened to the Torahs of the Baal Shem?
Right.
He said he brought from the Sorah that he has from Tzaddikim himself, the Torahs of Baal Shem sort of went a bit into hiding with the Chassidim.
Wow.
So you don't really get the derech of the Baal Shem Tov so alive amongst the Chassidim anymore, like as a dugish. It's more like a sort of like practical path,
right?
Of like trying to like keep alive the Masorah and V'chulu. But the Panimis of the derech Baal Shem Tov, you're gonna have to. His point to us was it's not going to come from outside of you. You're gonna have to go.
You're gonna have to dig it in.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do the hard work, which is what we're trying to do now by learning the Svarim, to try find that the Kudah Panimius inside ourselves works to bring out the greatness of Hashem, so the Nefesh Elikus is Sholet. Because in the end, what's the Nefesh Elikus? It's part of this Chelik Alekam Imam Mamish, it's a Chelik of godliness that we want to miyachid to the yichud, to Hashem, that we want to miyachid ourselves to Hashem. But we're coming with our life, with our journey, with our nisyonis, with our struggle, we're coming with everything to Hashem. We're not just coming like just some avoiding denial person of spirituality. We're trying to be our whole being and completely incorporate a whole nefesh and a whole journey, a whole tachlis of life into the yichud. And this is the challenge of being able to identify yourself with your nefesh elikus and to bring that together with everything you do. So you don't feel like you're disconnecting from Hashem when you're trying to serve Him in this world. And that's the real challenge of trying to bring everything into Avodas Hashem. Your husband-wife situations, your children's situations, your panas situation. That really that was a big cloud of Baal Shem Tov, to know Hashem in all your ways, in everything in life. So his Hisbodadus, his Hisbodadus are times of the day where you get this chizuk of nefesh elikus. So then you spiritualize all the other things. The problem is if you don't nourish your soul, like the Menachem was so mispal, if you're not nourishing your soul, how do you have the koach and moach? How do you have the koach of nefesh elikus to be sholet?
Mamash.
Of Hashem beliba b'chal yamini, and the greatest God will bring about a love of God which reveals itself in the right part of the heart, which is the seat of the godly soul's emotional factors. Where's the intellectual ones? In the march still, chochmah bin adas. But you have the das is what connects it into the Ava Hashem and the Yiras Hashem and the glory of Hashem and the victory and the Hachnar and the Yisod and Kedushas Abris, and it brings it down all the way down to the Malchus. And that's the idea, bringing the Ava Hashem from the Mayach in through the Hisbodadus into be nolad. It gives birth to emotions of love for Hashem. But Hashekha faces dafka by Bakim and mitzvahs the rights of the Rabbanan Talmudor Knei Kulam. A long desire to cleave to him by fulfilling the precept of the Torah and the rabbis, so which requires to do. So then you get inspired for YITZCHAK. It's not like the whole story we had before. The guy just does it because it's part of his natural life. Yeah, this is where you've created an awakening for it.
Right. Interesting. I just want to read this part here. Just Hisbonanus Hisbonanus ain't safe Baruch Hu. The Hoylid maybe Nasa Ruach Tas V'Yiras Hashem B'Meichai. Right, he's giving you a practical. You think about the godless of the Ein Saif Baruch Hu. I told you I one time had that crazy revelation.
Oh, so he was talking about
it.
You weren't there that day when the rabbi talked about
Which rabbi?
Alex or Shlomo.
Oh yeah, what did he say? He's not very into it.
No,
he's not very into it.
He was saying because it's not his nakuda was it's chokhmah without bina and kalim.
That's what it
It's
is.
just an
ore.
Sure. It's an ore, but you don't know how to put it into anything.
Right.
So whereas the Torah always gives you, when you learn it properly, it gives you the proper shtalshalis, like from chokhmah to bina to das and to the midas. This is what he's showing us this here.
Right. But what
and
it
manifests in Torah mitzvahs, not in some just feeling that goes.
So right. The idea that I have to that, and again, I'm not a proponent of it. I just know that well,
it did something for you.
What it can do is it's almost like a shock
to the
because
system.
some people can just be in a place where they're just like
there's no other way of getting out of it.
I just don't feel anything. Yeah. I don't feel it. I don't believe in it. I don't feel it. It's all fake.
Thing. Yeah.
And
a block.
It's interesting. Yeah. I feel like in Eretz Yisrael, it's not such an Indian as much as it is in America.
Probably, yeah. I'd probably agree with that.
And that thing just gives you like a shock. Like that's what happened to me. Like I was just not. I felt so blocked. Nothing was doing it for me. I had moments like we talk about the Beinoni. I had the moments of and those moments were not as often, but it was like ultimately.
I'll tell you
it's very interesting.
I'll tell you a deep answer in Shalom bias that's helping me right now. If you, like you said it before, if you really listen to your wife, she will also help you get unblocked.
Yeah, for sure.
Not because she's giving you great ideas in Torah, like in a revealed sense.
Yeah.
She's giving you insights to deep emotions that men naturally just avoid.
Well, because the women are from they
have deep understanding.
They have the Bina
Yisrael, and have deep understanding. And if you listen to it, it's another way of getting very close to Hashem. You just have to learn to have the humility and the sensitivity, empathy, and all that to really listen to what they're saying, because they are in tune with Ratzon and Hashem in that way. Right. They're made in Hashem's way. So it's just us allowing ourselves to get that man energy that wants to just solutions and get onto the next thing, the pressure. Right. You know what someone said Shabbos that actually hit me hard? The son-in-law of Rosen. He's a South African dude. I don't know if you've met him.
Oh, yeah.
Melech. No. So he's like a special yid. He's a convert as well.
Right.
Special yid. And he said to me, patience. You have to have the patience to listen.
Huh.
It means you have to not be in a rush to get to the next meeting or the next thing.
Right.
And that ability to just really listen to what they're saying. I'm saying this, I'm crap at it, honestly. But if I know when I've done it, I've grown so much from it.
Yeah.
It's just like you're saying that you want that moment of high connection to Vekas. So imagine you could just do that in your daily life with your wife. You don't have to always run off somewhere. Your wife's right in front of you and she needs you to be focused on her. Now just see that as the greatest moment of connection to Hashem.
Yeah.
Switcheroo. It's not the running around with Rosenfeld and Gedalia in the middle of the night. It's with Morgenstern. The sitting with the wife and listening to her is the biggest level of the Vekas. If you can really listen. And I'm just saying it, obviously it's a different form of Avodas Hashem, but it's a form. And it's learning how to do that. This is where I think our generation would gain a lot from just learning how the biggest levels of ruchnius are sometimes in the most mundane,
simple places.
Yeah, simple places. Children, to really tune into that. And I think our generation could be very good at that if we allow ourselves to be.
Yeah.
And it would actually solve a lot of our addictions and stuff, because then we'd actually be living real quality relationships with people. Mm-hmm. And I think our YITZCHAK would then grow from that 1,000-fold, because now when we're learning, we have our full bracha from our wife, because we fully validated her. And now when we're doing our spiritual activities, we're fully validated, and our children see how validating we are, and they feel validated, and then they have courage to go do their avoda.
Yeah, and it's a whole thing.
It's a whole positive push forward in everything, and it's so hard to do it, because either from Yitzhak makes you think that that's a waste of time. They're just draining your cup. You suddenly have this drosha from this Rav in your head, learning, davening, anything but sitting to listen to this woman, yeah?
Right.
But that's the from Yitzhak. You have to say, shut up, I'm with this person, I'm going to be misboning on the Kaddish Hashem with this lady.
Ultimately, that's the goal, is to feel connected to Hashem. Yavas Hashem believer b'chalal
Yamini, that's in the right.
Haimani, b'chashika,
yeah, the big cheshik, and chafetza,
the dove kabay, right?
I mean, see how I'm trying to bring it into every day.
Fervor and desire.
He goes off into mitzvahs and derais and derabbanans, Talmud Torah and kulam. But you also have a chiyuv of owner, of listening. How do you give owner to your wife? One of the ways is listening.
Just listening
deeply. There's a chiyuv. You got kasuba. You contracted yourself to it. And it's something that's just like, I don't know. You don't have to be. The point is, what I'm trying to say is take this concept of being a Beinoni and davik to Hashem and bring it into real life. And this, for me, that's real Hasidus. That's the Baal Shem Tov's Nakuda. He wanted us to bring the yichud into everything. Even with, a Geschmack Chabad Shliach. This is a Geschmack Chabad Shliach. I was out for Brengen. His name's Rav Abson. You ever heard of him? He's one of the last rabbis that ever spoke to the Bavitcher Rebbe before he was Nifta and Yechidus. And what was his shlichus from the Rebbe? Go open up yeshiva to give smicha to boys struggling. Wow. And that's what he does in Yerushalayim. Give smicha. So guys having a real struggle in Yiddishkeit, they'll come out of his yeshiva with Geschmack and with smicha.
Yeah, with smicha.
So they feel like they've accomplished something. It's very clever.
Unbelievable.
It's called the Rap. It's a famous yeshiva in Yerushalayim. The Rap. Yeah, because Rabbi Abson. So I always used to bring guys there. I used to love it. I used to go for Brengen with a rabbi. He once said a geschmacka comment, like one of his for Brengens. About 20 guys sitting there and in some basement there, like Nachla. And we're sitting there for Brengen, and he goes, I went out today with my wife. This was the end of this. Is such a good point. And he said, I suddenly realized I have to sit in this waiting room for a few hours. The government misrad thing I had to take care of. And I looked at my wife and I said, finally, there's nothing else but to do but to be together this moment. Wow. So rather than spend the whole time getting agitated, I need to get to my next thing and I'm going to now
do that. Yeah.
Now I'm with my wife for the next few hours. Fine, it's not the chosen place,
right?
But since we're together, let's chaparayim and be davik.
That's the hardest thing in our time.
And it has geschmack point. That's a chassid. Serving Hashem wherever.
All right.
Have a good day.